But first, I want to talk about an issue that doesn't receive the coverage it deserves: the plight of vulnerable older Australians in substandard aged care facilities. The Daily Telegraph should be applauded for highlighting this issue throughout the week. They have published shocking stories of neglect bordering on abuse at nursing homes around the country. When you put a loved one in an aged care facility, you expect they'll be safe, cared for, and treated with dignity. But the reality is, it can be very different for many who have been left devastated by what their family members have endured. John Callahan's family trusted a Bupa facility on the Gold Coast to take care of their retired entrepreneur as he battled cancer. But they found him distressed, in terrible pain, and with maggots crawling out of his ear. A nurse who worked at the same Bupa facility told the Daily Telegraph that patients were showered only once a week and some were left in their own waste due to rationing of incontinence pads. How can that happen in a prosperous and enlightened country? Why are our elderly who have worked hard, paid taxes and contributed to the country treated so appallingly in their final months and years? This week we learnt that global aged care giant Bupa, which has more than 70 facilities across the country, has had multiple breaches for failing to provide adequate pain management, nutrition, infection control and palliative care. It also has breaches for lack of cleanliness, emotional support and resident dignity. Of course, it's not just Bupa facilities that are under the spotlight. There are simply too many horror stories to detail here, and many more will come to light as the Aged Care Royal Commission continues to hear from families, former employees and other stakeholders. Our demographic changes present significant challenges, not just for families with loved ones needing intensive care, but authorities charged with monitoring the booming aged care sector. Currently, those who make up the over 65 demographic account for around 15% of the population. That number is set to soar in the coming years. This is a growing crisis that deserves far greater attention from the media class. But sadly, it receives a fraction of the coverage of their pet topics, things like global warming, asylum seekers and imaginary instances of racism.